Welcome back, Mets fans, to another week of Raise the Apple. And we are getting very close, but not quite there yet. Getting very close to Panic City as the last 2 weeks plus. This has really been going on for the last month. The Mets have just been a mess. So the Mets are coming off day off today. They're in Milwaukee, back in action starting tomorrow. Got Kodai Senga against Brandon Woodruff. But before that, the Mets got swept by the Cleveland Guardians, and it was ugly. So let's briefly recap this Guardian series. Lose game 1 in extras. You were down 5-0 late. We're going to hop right into this episode is literally just going to be a giant vent session almost, but it's also looking at the positive aspect of everything going on right now with the Mets. So the Mets lose game 1 against the Guardians, we're down 5-0, come back late, looked like the comeback kids were back, and then the team just falls apart in extra innings. It was the infamous Tyrone Taylor could have scored game. And then the Mets end up losing in extra innings. Brett Baty throws the ball away, and all hell breaks loose on Mets Twitter. Then they lose game 2, just couldn't get the job done. And then in game 3, afternoon baseball, getting no hit into the 9th inning. 1 out in the 9th inning, Juan Soto hits a home run to end the no-hitter, but the Mets still lose. Part of me kind of wish they got no hit, if that makes sense, just because of how that would have been the perfect cherry on top to how poorly things have gone of late. But let's talk about the Tyrone Taylor stuff, because that seems to have been the biggest takeaway from this series. And I don't blame Mike Sarball for holding him. I wish he would have sent him, but it's a double-edged sword, So he sends him. He gets thrown out at home plate. Say hypothetically, Tyrone Taylor gets thrown out. You have the backlash of, why would you send him when you had 1 out and if you had 1 out and Juan Soto and Pete Alonso coming up. But on the flip side, you hold him at third, and you have the winning run on third with Juan Soto and Pete Alonso coming up. A fly ball wins the game. So it was really a lose-lose situation for Mike Sarball. I think Tyrone Taylor could have scored. You're also anticipating that Carlos Santana has a perfect throw home, which he very well might, but, you have to take that risk. And I don't blame him for not sending Tyrone Taylor, but at the same time, I wish he would have. I think he would have been safe. The Mets win that game. I don't think it changes anything the way things have gone over the last few weeks. The Mets have kind of hit rock bottom on the season, and it's weird saying that they've hit rock bottom when they're at this point 11 games over 500 and they're 2.5 games out of not the wild cards race, 2.5 games out of the division race. But I've never seen baseball so wide open as it is. I tweeted it when the Astros traded Tucker, that the American League was just wide open. And now looking at it, it's all of Major League Baseball is just wide open. The Yankees have sucked, especially since the trade deadline. They finally won their first game since the trade deadline. They had the first game out of the trade deadline. All their new toys that they got. The Yankees had such a good trade deadline. The Yankees rolled out all their new toys, and every single one of them stunk. As a siren goes by. Every single one of them stunk. The Red Sox have gotten hot. The Blue Jays have gotten hot. The Rays have fallen off the face of the earth. Baltimore sucked all year. The Tigers have been scuffling of late. The Guardians were awful for a while. Now they're starting to pick it back up. The Astros got a slow start. They've come back. Seattle's been up and down, but they're back in it. Texas has found their way in the wild card race. The American League or National League side, the Braves have sucked all year long. The Mets and Phillies have gone back and forth. The Marlins are 500 right now. What is going on outside? As sirens just keep going by. In the Central, You have the Brewers and Cubs going back and forth. The Reds are in the mix for a wild card spot. Out west, you have the Padres who have come into right there with the Dodgers. They're within 3 games of the Dodgers. Baseball has just been fully wide open this year. And I really don't know if that's good or bad for baseball. I mean, I guess it's good from a competitive standpoint, but bad from the standpoint of I don't even know what. I feel like this should be a good thing for baseball, but part of me wants to think this isn't. When you look at the Mets, this is wide open for the Mets. They have a World Series caliber team, in my opinion. You have a 4-headed monster at the top of your lineup with Nimmo, Lindor, Soto, and Pete. You have let's talk about the starting pitching. Because on paper, this rotation should be a lot better than how it's performed. You have, we're just going to make up an order, Senga, Manaea, Peterson, Clay Holmes, Frankie Montas. That was the plan going into the year. Obviously, injuries kind of threw things out of whack. David Peterson's the only one that has performed. Sean Manaea came back from injury, was great, fell apart very quickly in his start against Cleveland. Kodai Senga was great, then got hurt, has been a little rocky since coming back from being hurt. Frankie Montas has been bad all year long. Clay Holmes, it's going to be 5 innings, 2 or 3 runs every single time. And I'm okay with that if that's what I know what I'm getting. The problem is the Mets aren't scoring when he's doing that. If he's pitching 5 innings, allowing 2 or 3 earned runs, he's giving the Mets a chance to win. And if the Mets aren't scoring, I mean, it's just the pitching the pitching just needs to go deeper into games. And it's not I don't really know what it is. I mean, I'm at a loss for words right now watching this team on a nightly basis. It's frustrating. I do think this is a World Series caliber team. Is it a perfect team? No. There's no such thing as a perfect team. But I do think you can think that this is a team that can make a deep run in October, but also acknowledge that right now is very frustrating to watch and very, very, I don't want to say concerning, but it's a struggle right now. Because a team with this much talent should not struggle and be as inconsistent as they are. Mark Vientos, from the bottom of the lineup standpoint, Jeff McNeil's been great. Mark Vientos having a textbook definition of a sophomore slump. Francisco Alvarez, he's been better since he's come back from AAA, but for the most part of the year, for the first start of the year, he was scuffling. Tyrone Taylor, well, we addressed that in center field at the trade deadline with Cedric Mullins, who's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start in his Mets tenure, but that's, there's going to be some growing pains. And Starling Marte has, from the DH spot, Starling Marte has been really not that bad this year, frankly. I mean, what else out of a 37-year-old outfielder? He's performed pretty well. I've been happy with Starling Marte on this team. The bullpen, the injuries with Kranick, Danny Young, AJ Minter really sucked, but the Mets addressed it at the trade deadline, bringing in Helsley and Rogers and Soto. You will have Diaz back there, who's been fantastic all season, looking like 2022 Edwin Diaz. This team, though, is just, it's chaotic. You see all these other people on social media talking about this team, how chaotic, it's just chaotic and crazy right now. A team this good on paper should not be struggling as much as they are. And there's growing pains in a baseball season. There's ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. But the downs are so bad that it makes you contemplate for a minute, like, is this team really for real? And I think this team is. And especially with the way the rest of the sport has performed this year, the World Series is wide open. I could see, usually in years past, there's usually like, what, 3, maybe 4 teams you're like, yeah, those are legit World Series contenders. This year, I could realistically see probably 6 or 7 teams winning the World Series this year. And I think the Mets are in that equation. The Mets and Phillies they're back and forth right now. Is the Phillies suck, the Mets are playing well, but the Mets don't want to play well enough to run away with the division. The Mets stink right now. The Phillies are playing very well, but the Phillies aren't playing well enough that they want to run away with the division. Whoever's in second place has literally been saying, here's first place, go take it. And they won't. And they won't. And the Mets are just as guilty of that. When they've been in first place and the Phillies have been scuffling, it was that time for the Mets to take off and go on a run and pull away, and they didn't. And it's the same thing right now with the Phillies. The fact that the Mets are only 2.5 games out of first place right now is crazy to me, because they have struggled so much over the last, really, 2 months. They rattled off a 7-game win streak, but it was a very quiet 7-game win streak. It wasn't like, 2019, the heart of the summer where LFGM was born and they won 18 of 19 and they were coming back every single night. That's not really what it was. And I don't really know what the answer is. A lot of people want Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes, Mets hitting coaches, shot into outer space. What does that solve? Not every time does firing people get the team wound up and go on a run. Sometimes it does. But I have a feeling that if the Mets were going to fire Eric Chavez or Jeremy Barnes, and maybe I'm wrong, but if they were going to do that, they would have done it by now. And really, when you look at it, their job is hitting coach. For a guy like Lindor, for a guy like Nimmo, for a guy like Soto, for a guy like Pete, guys who've been around a while, how much help really is a hitting coach? Take Francisco Lindor, for example. Francisco Lindor's been in the league for 10 years. If he doesn't know it by now, I don't know what we're doing. If Francisco doesn't have hitting down now, then I don't know what to do. I think it's very valuable. I think, I'm not dissing hitting coaches. I think they're very valuable and can be very helpful. But at the end of the day, no one knows Lindor's swing better than Lindor at this point in his career. It's just, to me, I don't think firing people, I don't think DFAing Frankie Montas or Ryan Stanek, which a lot of fans are calling for, or moving Clay Holmes to the bullpen, I don't think that's going to solve it. Well, what's going to solve it? I don't know. I think right now the Mets they need that one moment. Whether it's a clutch hit or a clutch home run or a starting pitcher gives a fantastic outing or a bullpen arm comes in and gets out of a huge jam. Or a huge defensive play, someone robbing a home run or making a diving stop. They just need that one play. That one moment. And I think that'll snap them right out of it. They just can't get that moment. There have been so many signs. That first game against Cleveland, Luis Torrens's fly ball to end the game just kept carrying and carrying and carrying. It looked like it was going to be a walk-off 2-run homer. And it fell, a foot or two shy of the wall? It's just, they're in the position to get that moment. And they can't seem to finish getting that moment. And I think once they get that moment, I think they're going to take off. If they can keep this division race close like it has been the entire season, I think the Mets can hang with Philly and make September a fun month of baseball. But they just need that moment. When does that moment come? Does it come in Milwaukee? They got Atlanta coming up. Does it come then? I don't know. But the way Philly's starting to roll, the Mets need to figure it out quick, because 2.5 games back can turn into 7 or 8 games back real fast. And I'm getting, personally, yeah, I'm getting very close to panicking a little bit. But I also feel confident by the end of the season the Mets are going to be where they should be, which is making a deep run in October. And if everything falls their way, I could see the Mets making a run at the pennant. But I really don't know what the answer is for this team right now. It's just so non-exciting watching right now. They just all are struggling so bad, and they all feel it and they all know it. And you can see it watching the games. You can see the frustration, that guys are getting down on themselves. You're seeing it. It's noticeable. And it's just been frustrating to watch. But it's, I don't know, it's they need that one moment. I'm at a loss for words right now. They need that moment. Is it calling up the young guys? I don't know why the Mets haven't called up Sproat or McLean yet. I do trust David Stearns and Steve Cohen that they know what they're doing when it comes to bringing those guys up. But right now, I don't know why or what the reasoning. They just keep one-upping themselves. Jonah Tong, I think, is going to be the best of those three, but I don't think he's going to be up till next year. He's in Double-A right now. Should be in Syracuse relatively soon. I don't know what we're waiting for. And hopefully he'll be up next year maybe. But McLean and Sproat, I mean, I feel like at this point of the year, you got to give one of them a shot. Even if they only go 5 or 6 innings. That's what you've been getting. And the two of them have been pitching so well in AAA. Why not give one of them? Why not bring one of them up and see what they got? See what you got with them. Maybe you got your number 5. Or you got a secret weapon come playoff time, your bulk guy. Or something to that effect. I mean, this team needs that moment. And it just seems that they can't figure it out. They're so out of sync right now. And if I had the answers, I mean, if any of us had the answers, there's a reason why we're sitting at home talking about it and not out there doing it, is because we don't have the answers to everything. But the Mets, for such a talented team, I don't understand how they've been so inconsistent this year. It just doesn't seem real because you have so much talent on this team. This is a complete team, in my opinion, especially with the reinforcements in the bullpen that were brought in at the deadline to fix all those holes. To me, this is one of the more complete Mets teams. Is the starting pitching is a solid when they're all healthy, and they have all pitched to the capability we've seen them pitch this year. They've been great. Senga had a stretch where he was fantastic. Manaea was great coming out of the gate. I mean, Peterson's been great all year. I don't know what it is with this team right now that they just can't seem to get that big moment to get them back on track. And hopefully the day off today on their way to Milwaukee, even though Milwaukee has been playing out of their mind for the last 2 months, hopefully the off day is good for them and they can get back on track. Maybe they win this series. I mean, they do have to deal with Woodruff and Quinn Priester. Those two paired with, thankfully we missed Freddie Peralta. Those two plus Peralta, that 3-headed monster they have in that rotation. It's going to be a tough series this weekend for a team that's scuffling, and now they have to face 2 of the Brewers' 3 best pitchers, and the Brewers in general, who are a very pesky, very annoying team, who have been playing the best baseball in the league for the last 2 months. I really don't know what the answer is going to be for the Mets. I'm adamant on it. They need that big moment. And I think once they get that big moment, I think things are going to turn around and be better for this team. But I could go on for hours talking about this, but we're going to cut it short, cut this little rant session short here. Here's the general consensus of this episode to Mets fans. It's okay. We're okay. It's very frustrating right now. I'm in 100% agreement. It's very frustrating. But come the end of the year, we will be fine. I trust Steve Cohen and David Stearns and Mendy at the helm. I have no doubt the Mets are going to be right there at the end. It's very cliche, but you got to believe. You can be frustrated right now, but also know and understand that come the end of the season, they're going to be fine and right where they should be. They just need that big moment. And that's pretty much all I got for this week. Nice little rant session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you're listening on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you follow on TikTok at RTA_pod. And yeah, stay tuned for next week's episode. Hopefully the Mets can get back on track in Milwaukee this weekend before they have to play Atlanta and just things get going. But again, they just need that moment. We're frustrated. We're all frustrated, but again, we could all vent for hours on it, but you got to believe with this team. And I think come the end of the year, they're going to be just fine. Thank you for tuning in this week to Raise the Apple. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll see you next time. Let's go Mets.